Hola estudiantes, hoy es el 29 de mayo, es un viernes, and you're finishing up Lección 2. Chances are you've completed the homework and you're getting ready to take the lesson test, which is due tonight, Friday, by midnight. And as always, you've got vocabulary, 3 major grammar points, object pronouns, gustar and similares, and reflexive verbs. So we can pop over and take a look and see what we have. So we see everything's good, so it's available, it's due tonight, and you've got a full hour to do it. Remember, once you get started, you can't stop because the clock is ticking and you're allowed a whole hour. Most students finish in about 20 minutes, but you've got a good hour just to make sure that you can do it in a comfortable amount of time. And what you can expect is simply vocab of this type. So escoger, you need to choose from the drop down, right? The term that makes the most sense. Luego, definiciones, indica qué palabra corresponde a cada definición. So here you've got definitions and you're choosing the word that best fits this description, right? This definition. And completar más vocabulario. So you want to complete these oraciones con los verbos de la lista. Usa cada verbo una sola vez. And it looks like you don't have to conjugate anything. It looks like you just need the infinitive form in all these cases. But this is your word bank and use each verb only one time. So it's pretty straightforward. No pertenece, here you choose the one that doesn't fit with the other ones. And luego 5, now you're getting into the grammar. Completa las respuestas con el pronombre de complemento directo indirecto. So here you need the direct or indirect according to the model. And it looks like they're giving you 2 versions, right? Or they want you to come up with 2 different ways of saying it. So notice out here they're saying, ¿Ganaron ustedes el campeonato de verano? Did y'all win the summer championship? And A says, sí, lo ganamos. Yeah, we won. We won it. Right? But look at how this one is a little bit different because now they've added an auxiliary verb. Right? So they want you to place the pronoun over here attached to the end of the infinitive. So this one goes, no pudimos ganarlo. So it's this basic pattern that you'll see over and over again. ¿Limpió Camila la mesa? Sí, la limpió. Right? So you don't have any auxiliary verb, you only have a conjugated. You always put the object pronoun, whether it be direct or indirect, right before the conjugated. But now you don't have that choice because you have to put it over here in this slot. But not to worry because you can just say simply, no pudo limpiarla. And it fits perfectly on to the end, excuse me, of the infinitive. So that's the pattern they're looking for. Oraciones incompletas. Seleccione la opción adecuada para completar las oraciones. It's a drop down. So, usted nos pide disculpas por su error. Eso sí, right? And so you'd come up with nos las pidió demasiado tarde. So, you asked forgivenesses. In Spanish, it's plural, it's feminine. That's why it's las. And you ask them of us, from us, and that's why it's nos. So you got to figure out what the indirect is and what the direct is to come up with the right combination. Oraciones. Completa las oraciones con los verbos de la lista. En presente, so you're only using present tense, and you're using each verb only one time. So here you've got to conjugate these. And then obviously most of these are functioning like gustar, right? Usted dice que desde ayer le espalda el cuello. Oh, my back. Oh, my neck. What can it be? ¿Por qué no pide una cita con el médico? Why don't you go to the doctor? So they're talking about that. The only one, actually I can see 2 possibilities, but it's probably this one, right? Le duelen, you could say. And you say, that since yesterday, your back and your neck are troubling, they're causing you pain. So that le refers to usted, and duelen, notice how it's plural because espalda is one, cuello is another, it's a plural, right? So these are verbs like gustar, and here we have reflexive, right? Reflexivo or no. So we only have two choices, and sometimes there's a really big meaning between reflexive versus non-reflexive. So you have to look at the typologies and the explanations from the digital textbook in order to make your decision. So, tu hermano es el famoso actor, Gael García Bernal. So the only one that fits here, according to this context, is se parece. Because when you want to say, oh, you look just like Britney, you look just like Brad Pitt, you look just like Gael García Bernal, it has to be parecerse with the reflexive, right? So if you say, oh, seems like rain, you could say, parece que va a llover. It looks like it's going to rain, non-reflexive. But if you want to say, oh, she looks like Britney Spears, you have to say, se parece a. So that's the difference between those two, and that's what they're going for. So that, in a nutshell, is the Lección 2 examen es para esta noche. So we've touched on that, and as long as we're here, let's go back and let's take a look at Lección 3. So you're going to get to La Vida Diaria. So here you've got daily life, your things associated with your day-to-day life, la casa, la limpieza, los quehaceres, la compra, la cocina, ese tipo de cosa. So, vamos aquí, la vida diaria. Y donde está contexto siempre. And as always, we have our vocabulario. We have la vida diaria, which is good here, but I just wanted to take a look at the textbook just to get an orientation. And, oh, I'll make a guess. I think it's probably page 80. Hey, whoa. Qué bueno soy. La vida diaria. So, todo este vocabulario que tiene que ver con en casa. Estamos en casa, ¿no? Entonces, los muebles, la limpieza, barrer, all these things associated with your daily routine and the chores that you have to do at home. Te compras, centro comercial, la ganga, hacer mandados. Now, you're at the grocery store or you're at the mall, all these words and expressions associated with going out and running errands. You've got other expresiones, some of them have to do with time, a menudo, often, versus a tiempo, on time, apenas, hardly, bastante, casi, almost, casi nunca, hardly ever, right? And then a little bit more over here, la vida diaria, agenda is your schedule, costumbre, your daily habit, the way you normally do it. El horario is a schedule, rutina is your routine. So here we have an intro to the first chapter. To the third chapter. And I'm going to go back here real quick. And in this chapter, we're going to take a look at the past tense in Spanish. And because you've studied Spanish before, you know that there are two past tenses in Spanish. You've got the preterite and also you have the imperfect. And they're used together in order to talk about past events in a more effective way so that the listener or reader can understand it better. So this is all concentrating on the past tense. First you've got the preterite, then the imperfect, and then you've got them being used together. So that's the major grammar focus there. And I've gone back to Canvas here, and I wanted to touch base again quickly on the assignments. And a couple students missed the video for whatever reason, and that's okay, except there are no makeups for the video because it calls on you to interact with other students. And so the window's already shut, the door's closed on this one. However, you can offset the loss of somewhat of some of these points by simply doing extra credit. So take advantage of the extra credit by setting up a Zoom appointment with the folks there at the SCC, Spanish Conversation Center. And once you've completed your visit, just simply upload a little informe, a little summary of what your visit was like. Was it positive? Blah, blah, blah. Has to be in Spanish. And that way you can get up to 5 points extra credit, which will mitigate the loss somewhat of the points due to not having turned in the Vamos a Conocernos video. So definitely keep that in mind. You still have plenty of time. We still have a few weeks left to go in this session, so I would definitely do that. And I'll also remind you that the first discussion blog, El Amor a Primera Vista, is due in the next couple of days. So your original post is due Sunday by midnight, and then you've got a couple of days to get your comments in to 2 other students. Here you've got the full instructions. I would just remind you that you've got 2 major tasks, right? You've got your main video, and then you have to reach out to 2 of your peers. Again, the videos were 70, and the responses to your peers are worth a total of 30, 15 points each. So just follow the instructions. And you also want to make sure that you include an embedded image. No embedded image, I take right off the top. So as always, we have a rubric for how I grade these discussion blogs. Under modules, student resources, discussion blog grading rubric, so you have to have an embedded image as well. So look, oh, people are already posting. It looks great. I love it. Okay, me parece súper bien. Yo creo que es suficiente por ahora. Pues feliz fin de semana y nos vemos muy pronto. Hasta luego.